Here are 5 tips to better help you survive in Phasmophobia, and these tips do not involve using a smudge stick or a crucifix. So if you are struggling for the cash because you do keep dying, then this is going to be the perfect video for you. The first tip is going to be to find where the ghost is. I have a video on better ways to find a ghost, which will also be linked up in the corner. But knowing where the ghost room is will give you an idea of where the ghost will most likely spawn for a hunt. It is not a guarantee that the ghost will hunt from that location in the ghost room, but it is a high likelihood. If you are playing on amateur, the best way to do this is to use a thermometer to find the low temps that will tell you where the ghost is. Now that we have an idea of where the ghost is, the next tip is going to be to plan your escape route. What this is going to do is to help keep you calm in the event the ghost does decide to hunt. On amateur, all hiding spots are open, so you're going to have a much easier time to pick your hiding spot. Ideally, you're going to want a hiding spot that is a little bit of a distance around the ghost room and one that's around corners so you can break line of sight in case the ghost sees you. For instance, if we are on Willow Street and we see that the ghost is in the back right bedroom, ideally the best hiding spot to go to is going to be inside the garage, inside the laundry room, because there's a lot of twists and turns to get there. So if you do pick this spot, you're going to want to keep this in mind while you are hunting for more evidence or for the more objectives. And then if the ghost does decide to hunt, you're already going to have it in your mind where you need to run to. Now that we know our escape route to the hiding spot, what we're going to want to do next is going to be leave the lights on. This is going to help you know the way to the location of the hiding spot. This is also going to let you know when the hunt ends when it is lit up. If the ghost turns off the breaker and you don't turn it back on, another good way to light up the path to the hiding spot is to use other items to light it up for you. This can include like the dots projector or an extra flashlight, and you can use that to light a path. Please note this though, if you think the ghost has any chance of being a Raiju, do not use the electronic items to light the path, because that's just going to be a Raiju's death trap, since Raijus will speed up around the electronic equipment. But if you have already marked off Raiju as being possible because the evidence does not match it, then this will be a good way to light up a path. You can use this method because it will not speed up the other ghosts and you don't have to worry about keeping your flashlight on. Before we get on to the next tip, if you have found these tips to be useful, please consider give the video a like. I very much appreciate it. Tip number 4 is going to be don't put yourself in bad position. In other words, think of always your positioning in relative to the ghost room. Mainly what I mean by this is don't put your back against a wall or a corner. You always want to leave room for an escape path. It can get a little rough sometimes depending on the location of the ghost room, but just always think to yourself of how can I easily get out of this, or will I be backed into a corner if the ghost hunts in front of me? Let's take that same room for example in Willow Street, the back right bedroom. If the ghost is there, and for instance if you need to get like an objective for a paramic, stand right outside the doorway so that way the hallway is your clear path for an escape. You wouldn't want to for instance be in the back left corner of the room with the paramic, because if the ghost does hunt from in there, you're gonna have a much harder time to get out. This will eventually come naturally over time, but thinking about positioning is one of the big things that I don't think a lot of players think about. Tip number 5 will be sanity control. If your sanity is high, there are very few ghosts that are going to be able to hunt you. Holding a lit candle will not drain your sanity. What I usually like to do is to hold a lit candle until I know where the ghost room is and when I have found the evidence. That way my sanity is as high as possible, and then I can use the rest of the time to figure out other things that I need or to complete the objectives. This can get a little bit tough sometimes, but for instance, if you're waiting for dots and you want to wait outside the room to see if you see it, hold a lit candle in your hand while you're doing it. If you're waiting for an interaction to see if you can get EMF 5, hold a lit candle with the EMF reader still in your inventory, and then when you hear the interaction, put the EMF reader out and go check it. Your sanity won't drain as fast and you're going to be a lot safer. And lastly is something that is hugely important and is a bonus tip here, and that's going to be to get hunted repeatedly. That's right, it's going to be super scary, but practice makes perfect. Start a game with only the starter items, nothing else in there, so if you die, you really don't lose anything. Use the cursed item to drain your sanity, trigger a cursed hunt, and then play the game normally with the threat of the hunt again being very high. This is going to be absolutely scary. You're going to be put on edge, but you're going to have a better idea of how ghosts hunt and your reaction to it and what you're going to want to do. So if you combine these tips to then try to get a cursed hunt immediately and play with the threat of the hunt always possibly happening again, you're going to get a lot better with the hunt, and you're also going to get a lot better knowing the ghost's behavior. Another very important piece of information is knowing the difference between when to run and hide because the ghost is hunting, as well as when the ghost is just doing a ghost event where you can snap a cool picture. If you are struggling with knowing the difference as well, then I have a video here that I think you guys will love to watch and will gain more information on. So I will see you over there.